My friend, what is absolutely going to be considered a landmark new citizenship law came into force and in effect in Germany on Tuesday, yesterday, with a specific and explicit requirement for applicants to declare the state of Israel's right to exist. This is a condition precedent or concomitant to German citizenship, a formal declaration, an article of faith, if you will, as to Israel's right to exist. Now, we'll talk more about that. Well, what does that mean? Is this Zionism? Is this the right to exist? Well, of course it has a right to exist. Does France have a right to exist? Well, as you know, and as you've been able to determine, especially for those of you who are new to this particular subject matter, there are implications of this that need to be explained. Now, the referred to as socially liberal government of Chancellor Olaf Scholz made the notion of dual nationality a critical campaign pledge when he was elected in 2021. And he promised to shorten the waiting time for new citizens to obtain a German passport. He was going to shorten that to 5 years. And the country did not previously allow dual citizenship for first-generation migrants. But, as was cited, the rise of antisemitism, and this is also requires antisemitism, which would be actions directed towards people because of their Jewish faith, or statements against Israel, which sometimes have been melded into this rubric of antisemitism. But this is an increasingly fractious and contentious debate over Israel's war against Hamas and a surge in popularity for, quote, anti-immigrant far-right politics. See, I love that. You never hear people ever referred to as far left. Anyway, you never hear anybody, Emmanuel Macron, far left. Never. It's always far right. But this has prompted, apparently, Berlin to recast what it's referred to as its citizenship overhaul to a tougher measure, specifically loyalty to certain German values. Think of it as an article of faith. Interior Minister Nancy Faeser, yesterday, Tuesday, said, quote, anyone who shares our values and makes an effort can now get a German passport more quickly and no longer has to give up part of their identity by giving up their old nationality. By the way, one of the things which is a part of this is the new globalism. This is the Great Reset. Nationality and jurisdiction will mean nothing. Currency, borders, jurisdiction, nationality, traditions, language, all of that's on the way out. But that's for another discussion. Quote, but we have also made it just as clear. This is her quote. Anyone who does not share our values cannot get a German passport. We have drawn a crystal clear red line here and made the law much stricter than before. The provision of articles of faith. Okay. German parliamentarians agreed recently on the legal basis of these new citizen requirements in January of this year. But the content, the specific wording of the citizenship test is at the center of the controversy and is set by, of course, government regulation. The Interior Ministry, prior to this, had indicated previously that it intended, and certainly intended to include, questions on Judaism and Jewish life in Germany, but stopped short of saying whether it would include a specific declaration regarding the state of Israel. Now stop right there. German citizenship, German nationality, German identity, German passports, German is going to include a thought, a question of the sentiment regarding Israel, Jewish life. Fascinating. Fascinating. I, not being a German, I'm looking at this thing as a regular citizen of the world and saying, The Interior Ministry yesterday confirmed it would now be a requirement. The Interior Ministry said, quote, new test questions have been added on the topics of anti-Semitism, the right of the State of Israel to exist, and Jewish life in Germany. Can you imagine if we did that here? By the way, you want to be an American citizen? What are your thoughts on white people, on Christianity? Do you respect, or you're an atheist? Oh, so sorry to hear that. Have a nice day. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Presenting the annual report on Tuesday, Germany's official government commission designed for fighting anti-Semitism, Felix Klein, described a catastrophic rise in hate crimes against Jewish people in Germany. No argument whatsoever. Anti-Semitic incidents logged by his office increased, according to him, 83% year on year in 2023 to 4,782, the vast majority of which were acts of publicly documented hate speech, but with several hundred occurrences of physical violence to people and property. This is according to his office. Now, the government has declared zero tolerance for anti-Semitism in Germany. Let me stop right there. If you can define that, and you know my thoughts on hate speech, what is motivated by, is it the hate or the speech? Is that the animus that propels it? Is that a byproduct? Let them decide. The government declared a zero tolerance for anti-Semitism in Germany, but it sparked tremendous anger by appearing to crack down on specific criticism of the Israeli government over its conduct in Gaza, fueling many believe, a debate over free speech to Germany. And this is seen specifically among artists and politicians and political commentators and bloggers and academics and the like. Sabine Doring, who is the Germany's junior minister for higher education, was forced to resign earlier this month after her ministry started exploring legal options to defund the research of German academics who had signed a public letter criticizing a police crackdown on anti-Israeli student protests. The issue has apparently also been a flashpoint in Germany for young Muslims who apparently are warned by officials of becoming increasingly radicalized by what they see as government oppression of their right to express their opinion. Why does this matter to you? Let me tell you why it matters to you. Simply put, number one, if it happens there, it's going to happen here. And it goes from articles of faith for citizenship to articles of faith for living. The loyalty oath is something that we've been very careful about. We have had no problem whenever somebody joins any organization, whether it's the Sertoma Club or whether it's you get your law license or whatever it is, to how do I say this? To pledge fealty, to support and defend the Constitution. That's one thing. But this brings up the question, what is anti-Semitism? What is anti-Semitism versus anti-Israel policy? Again, this is for Germany to decide. Can you be an anti-Zionist and be Jewish? Could an Orthodox rabbi be an anti-Zionist? And would that prevent his application for citizenship? Would imagine an ordained, so to speak, full-fledged, card-carrying, absolute Orthodox Jewish involved in, think about this, involved in the notion of anti-Semitism, or not being available or subject to entry because he's not a Zionist. Is that anti-Israel? Is that anti-Semitic? If somebody gets into a riot because he's pro-Palestinian or pro-Gaza or is against human rights violations alleged or otherwise, is that anti-Semitism? Let me tell you something. These issues, this is first and foremost, and it is fascinating. What are your rights to be anti-Israel, anti-American, anti-German, anti-anything? Is being anti, provided they don't accompany violence. Oh, anytime you're violent, you can be violent, and that's against the law, even if you have no theory as to why you're being violent. But the implications of this are fascinating. What do you think, my friend? Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Your likes are not only requested, they're critical. But I'm so fascinated by the notion of you commenting as you see fit.